Now, where do you get your information from ahead of an election, and how do you determine its accuracy? Well, Undercover Voters is a BBC project to identify how online activity impacts different kinds of voters in different parts of the UK. Its main focus is to reveal how young people are being recommended misleading AI-generated videos and fake content. The BBC's disinformation and social media correspondent Marianna Spring has been investigating, and I caught up with her earlier and started by asking her why this was coming to her attention now.
So I think that a lot of people, probably people watching, will have started to see political videos and content pop up on their social media feeds since the general election was called. And that means it's an important time to actually be talking about where that's coming from, who's behind it, and the impact it could have. A lot of the discussion has focused on the content that's coming from the parties themselves. So the official content, whether that's funny videos, funny TikToks. There's a bit of a meme battle going on between the main parties at the moment on TikTok in particular. And there's also been a lot of discussion about TikTok, because this is the first election that we've had here in the UK where TikTok has been really, really popular, the first general election. What I've investigated is not the official stuff, but the unofficial stuff. Some of it which is possibly misleading, that promotes hate in the comments, that is AI generated, and even when it's parody or satire can be misleading, and a lot of people in the comments are saying, hang on a second, what's going on here? And this content is being actively promoted to young voters on TikTok. And what I found, the content I was describing to you there, it has been coming from students, political activists, comedians, and then some accounts where you go, oh, hang on a second, who's this? No name, no picture, nothing like that.
And is this trend being influenced by elections elsewhere?
I think that to some extent, yes, in so much as social media sites don't have borders in the way that countries do. And so a lot of the conversations that are happening online do spill over into other places. Obviously, we've got a big election coming up in the US later this year, the Indian elections, other elections happening all around the world, Mexico and so on. So I think a lot of that conversation can kind of muddle together. A lot of this content is very, very specific, I'd say, to voters here in the UK. But some of the tactics at play, AI-generated clips, the kinds of memes that are being shared, those are, I guess, tips and tricks being stolen sometimes from elsewhere.
Yeah, because do we know who is behind this? We imagine it's foreign sources, but actually, is it coming from supporters of the parties themselves here? Do we know?
So I messaged quite a few people who were sharing this kinds of content, some of it misleading, some of it just satirical, other types of videos, some that had hate in the comments. A lot of them were genuinely people who seemed to be based here in the UK. They told me how they were students or young political activists who wanted to make content like this. One 16-year-old described to me how she just did not expect to go viral in this way. And while she saw that her clips perhaps could be misleading, also thinks it's important to be able to get involved in the democratic process, which is a positive of people creating this kinds of content. There were other anonymous accounts with, numerical usernames, no pictures, who I messaged who didn't get back to me. And those can be hallmarks of fake accounts, but it is incredibly difficult to then work out, first, whether it is a fake account, and then secondly, who that fake account belongs to.
And very briefly, is there anything, or should social media companies be doing anything about this?
So all of the social media companies have committed to dealing with harmful content on their platforms during elections, whether that's disinformation, hate. They have lots of rules about political advertising and the kinds of stuff you can share. They also have lots of rules about issues like influence operations or allegations of foreign interference. I reached out to TikTok in particular, who I focused on for this investigation, and TikTok told me that they've invested extra resource in the UK election. So they've added another fact checker to their UK election centre team that's focusing on this. They told me that they're using industry-leading labelling, AI labelling. So if a video is generated by AI, you can tell that it is. And they also say that they've removed 97% of election misinformation before anyone's seen it. But questions will continue to be asked, not just of TikTok, but of all the social media companies over the coming weeks, because this stuff pops up and it's seemingly only after it's been seen, or at least some of it's been seen, that it gets taken down or dealt with or removed in some way.